Australian government is committed to continue its support on Lao education in the framework of the Australian Award Scholarship. According to Australian Ambassador to Laos, John Williams, 40 to 50 scholarships have been provided to the Lao PDR every year, contributing to human resources development of Laos.
Australia Award Scholarships are the Australian Government's global official scholarships programs for developing countries around the world, both undergraduate scholarships and master's or PhD scholarships for study in Australia.
Speaking to our news team, Ambassador of Australia to Laos, John Williams, said Australian Award Scholarships are the Australian government's full scholarships that offer to developing countries around the world in both undergraduate and postgraduate level to study in Australia.
The aim of them is they're an investment. They're an Australian investment, for example, here in Laos, in the Lao PDR's economic development, by an investment in the education, the human resource development of the next generation of Lao leaders.
According to the ambassador, the Australian government has seen the significant impact the ASS posed on the empowering of women and underprivileged people. The scholarship has been designed to be inclusive, encouraging participation of the candidates, especially those from the rural area.
They're also doing the very best that we possibly can to address the Lao government's concerns about inequity, about disparity in Lao society. So we try to make the scholarships as inclusive as possible. We make sure there's a strong gender balance as possible. At least half the successful candidates every year are women, are Lao women. We have very strong preference for people from a background who have a disability or who are from remote communities or ethnic groups. So we do our very best through the scholarships program to make sure that it's representative and it's inclusive to capture the broad cross-section of Lao society.
The Australian government has attached great emphasis on the investment on developing education and human resources in the Lao PDR. The Australian Awards have also been strengthening the alumni who currently will participate in the process of the national development in the positions within the government, international organizations and private sector.
With the program of international relations, even though the work that I'm doing now it's about development, but I feel that program that I've studied also very useful. In the course of international relations, I did political science, I did history, Asian studies, and mostly relating to diplomatic studies as well, so which is very, very useful in working in the environment now in the Australian Embassy, where I'm working with different nationalities and different political system. So what I gain from Australia, it's usable here and useful in the workforce.
I like the course that's offered at the Australian National University. It's a subject that I'm interested in to study, that is development administration. And because after finish the study, it has been a great help for me to progress in my career and my continue expanding my knowledge again through the experience that I have in the university. I think until now I still use a lot of benefit that I gained from university while I study there.
Being on the scholarship, I felt that I need to push myself really hard to be able to be successful. So I had to try really hard to be assertive when needed, try to be very confident, and try to work hard in order to be successful. And these skills are very, very necessary and very useful when coming back and working.
After I finished my study in Australia and I have improved my English, I have more opportunity, whether it is work or whether it is to continue your study. After the scholarship, I can up and work for 3 years. I have a chance to apply for another scholarship. This opportunity comes as a result of my improvements in English and my experience gained from what I got from Australia.
Upon return to Laos, the awardees will be able to join the Australian alumni. The alumni has a number of programs and activities. They exist to help assist the smooth transition of the awardees to study in Australia as well as return to work in the Lao PDR. This strong alumni network has been providing professional and development workshops as well as fundraising activities.
We have a really strong and important alumni network, the Lao Australia Alumni Association, a very committed and able group of young Lao people who have studied in Australia and who are interested in giving something back. And what the Alumni Association means for all the Lao students who have studied in Australia is a network that will help them in terms of its professional development activities, in terms of professional networking amongst peers here in the Lao PDR, but also it does a lot of charitable work. So as I said, people that are interested in giving something back to Lao society. So it's an organisation that raises a lot of funds and contributes it back to disadvantaged groups and organisations here in the Lao PDR. So the alumni network is a real strength for Australia here and a real strength for the Lao PDR.
In Australia and overseas.
40 to 50 scholarships yearly have been provided to Lao students to pursue their education in the field of study that is the priority area of their respective country, ranging from economic, business, human resources management, natural resources management, environmental governance in the context of political science and international relations.
You will have fantastic opportunities to become future leaders.
So all of those young Lao people that are interested in Australian Government scholarship, first of all provide an application that provides personal information as well as information about their field of study and how they hope that their study in Australia will give them an ability to contribute to Laos's economic development on their return to the Lao PDR. Once they've submitted an application, then a group will be shortlisted for individual screening tests in English, and then they will come and do an interview at the Lao Australia Institute, an interview in person. And then if they get through that process, they will have to then do the English exams, the IELTS exams, and achieve a very high level of proficiency in English. Those that are selected that don't have the highest level of proficiency to be able to complete their degree in Australia will then do a process of preparation at the Lao Australia Institute at Vientiane College, which can be up to 12 months, to make sure that they're prepared to study in Australia, particularly with their English language skills.
The Australian Award Scholarship is now open for application for both public and open candidates until the 30th of April 2015. For further information, please visit the website of www.australiaawards.laos.org.
Read all the information carefully.